about the Earth's moon. Let us start with its history. The moon, of course, has been known since prehistoric times. It is also called Luna by the Romans, Selene, and Artemis by the Greeks, and many other names in other mythologies. As the moon orbits around the Earth once per month, the angle between the Earth, the moon, and the sun changes. We see this as the cycle of the moon's phases. The time between successive new moon is 29.5 days or 709 hours. Slightly different from the moon's orbital period, measured against the stars, since the Earth moves a significant distance in its orbital around the sun in that time. Due to its size and composition, the moon is sometimes classified as a terrestrial planet along with Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. The moon was first visited by Soviet spacecraft Luna 2 in 1959. It is the only terrestrial body to have been visited by humans. The first landing was on July 20, 1969, and the last was in December 1972. In the summer of 1994, the moon was very extensively mapped by the Lille spacecraft Clementine and again in 1999 by Lunar Prospector. Again, the moons are also known as natural satellites. It orbits planets and asteroids in our solar system. There are more than 200 moons in our solar system. Earth has only one, while Mercury and Venus doesn't have. Saturn and Jupiter have the most moons. Saturn with 82 and Jupiter with 53 moons. Moons come in many shapes, sizes, and types. A few with atmospheres and even hidden oceans beneath. How big is the moon, by the way? The Earth's moon is the second brightest object in the sky after the sun. It appears quite large, but that is only because it is the closest celestial body. The moon is a bit more than 1/4 or 27% the size of the Earth. A much smaller ratio, 1:4, than any other planets and their moons. Earth's moon is the fifth largest moon in the solar system. The moon's mean radius is 1,079.6 miles or 1,737.5 kilometers. Double those figures to get its diameter. It is 2,159.2 miles or 3,475 kilometers. The moon's equatorial circumference is 6,783.5 miles or 10,917 kilometers. The moon's surface area is about 14.6 million square miles or 38 million square kilometers, which is less than the total surface area of the continent of Asia. It is 17.2 million square miles or 44.5 million square kilometers. The mass of the moon is 7.35 by 1,022 kilograms, about 1.2% of the Earth's mass. Put another way, the Earth weighs 81 times more than the moon. The moon's density is 3.34 grams per cubic centimeters. That is about 60% of the Earth's density. The moon is the second densest in the solar system. The moon's gravitational force is about 16.6% of Earth's gravity. A 45-kilogram person would weigh 100 pounds on Earth but only 16.6 pounds on the moon. A person who can jump up to 10 feet on the Earth would be able to jump almost 60 feet on the moon. Like most of the solar worlds, the moon's gravity varies based on its surface features. In 2012, NASA's Gravity Recovery and Interior Laboratory mission mapped the moon's gravity in unprecedented details. Because the moon's orbit is not circular, it is sometimes closer than at other times. Perigee is the term when the moon is closest to the Earth. When a full moon coincides with perigee, we get a supermoon, which appears 14% larger and 30% brighter than the usual. It is first applied by astrologer Richard Knoll in 1979. Supermoon originally referred to as a new moon or a full moon that occurs when the moon is within 90% of its closest approach to the Earth. The astronomical term for the phenomena is perigee CZG moon. A supermoon occurs every 414 days. That's an average. However, the year 2016 boasted not only one but three supermoons. The moon won't get as close as it got during the November 2016 supermoon until November 25, 2034. The year 2017 only has one supermoon which occurred on December 3, 2017. The year 2018 has two supermoons, both on January, with the first on January 2 and the second on January 31. High and low tides are caused by the moon. The moon's gravitational pull generates something called the tidal force. It causes the earth and its water to bulge out on the side closest to the moon and the side farthest from the moon. The bulges of water are high tides. As the earth rotates, your region of earth passes through both of these bulges each day. When you're in one of the bulges, you experience a high tide. When you're not in one of the bulges, you experience a low tide. This process of two high tides and two low tides occurs most days on most of the...
So I'm the next one to discuss the important information about the Earth's moon. Let's just think about these two questions. First, how important is the moon to life on Earth? And the second one, would there be life without the moon? The two questions will be answered as we go on through to our discussion. Without the moon, a day on Earth would be last 6 to 12 hours. There could be 1,000 or there could be more than 1,000 days in 1 year. That's because of the Earth's rotation is slowed down over time, thanks to the gravitational force or pull of the moon, and without it, days would go by in a blink. It is the pull of the moon's gravity on Earth that holds our planet in place. Without the moon stabilizing our tilt, it is possible that the Earth's tilt would vary widely. It would move from no tilt, which means no seasons, to large tilt, which means extreme weather and even ice ages. So at this moment, let's move on about the important or interesting facts about the Earth's moon. First, the moon is estimated to be 4.5 billion years ago. We were not around to see its creation, but it was most likely to be made when large objects collided on Earth. This would have blasted out rocks that began to orbit around the Earth. They were then drawn together and over time melted into one another. Once they cooled down, they became the moon. The second one, the moon would have been hit by other rocks for 500 million years. These are rocks from the original collision, and this is why the moon's surface is covered in craters, over 500,000 of them. The third, the moon is very visible from the Earth. With the use of the telescope or even a good pair of binoculars, you can actually see the moon's surface and its craters. Fourth, the moon is tidally locked to the Earth. This means that the same side of the moon is facing the Earth at all times. Images have been captured from space that shows the opposite side to look very similar to what we can see. Fifth, there is no atmosphere on the moon. That is why craters are still there, and there's no rain, no wind, or no weather activity to erode the surface as we see on Earth. 6. The moon has seas, not real oceans like we have on Earth, but large smooth pits of lava. These appear on the moon as areas darker than the rest of the surface. Each sea has a Latin name. 7th, the moon goes through phases. Of course, this happens when the moon is lit differently by the sun. The moon appears on Earth as a small crescent as it rotates around the Earth. This expands to the full moon and back to small crescent. This happens every 29 days and is called a lunar month. 8. The moon causes the rise and fall of the ocean's tides on Earth. This is because the moon has a gravitational force causes the oceans to bulge outward on the both sides of the planet. This is the moon pulling the water towards itself. Due to the different rotations of the Earth and the moon, the area of the planet affected changes throughout the day. This means any given area of Earth will experience a high tide caused by this bulge every 12 hours and 25 minutes. 9th, you weigh less on the moon than you do on Earth. This is because the moon has a much weaker level of gravity than Earth. This is due to satellite's smaller mass. You would weigh about 16.5% of which you do on Earth. 10th, the moon is slowly moving away from the Earth. But don't worry, it's only 3.8 centimeters away each year, and we won't notice the difference at some time. 11th, people have walked on the moon, but only 12 of them, and they were all males. These were all part of the Apollo missions between 1968 and 1972. Nobody has been there since, but there are future plans to revisit the moon. Last but definitely not the least, the moon is the fifth largest satellite. It is only beaten in size by the very large moons of Jupiter and Saturn. So that ends our discussion. We hope that you gained something from us about the Earth's moon. With that, thank you for listening and have a good day. Keep safe.
Dance!